You know, in every person's life, there comes a journey so profound that it redefines their entire path. It becomes a turning point, building a bridge to a new beginning, one where the weight of the past dissolves and life flows with newfound meaning. Adirondack Mountain was the place where it started. This place fueled me with so much hunger for travel. Now it's almost impossible to turn back. Welcome to Adirondack. To begin our story, let's start from the beginning.
We are finally headed towards the Mount here, Marcy. Mount Marcy.
Here is an overview of our 3 day backpacking adventure in the Adirondack. On day 0, we drove to an Airbnb near Albany, New York, less than 2 hours from the trailhead. I drove from Boston and my friend came from Rochester, New York. On day 1 in the morning, we arrived at Adirondack Lodge and Heart Lake Program Center, reorganized our backpack, had breakfast, and started hiking. We hiked 6 miles that day and camped near Avalanche Lake due to the lack of sleep the previous night. On day 2, we started early, had breakfast by the river, reached Mount Marcy around 1 pm. Though we planned to climb more peaks, the ascent was too difficult, so we took an alternate route to Jones Brook Lodge and camped there, covering almost 12 miles, which was a lot. On day 3, we hiked 7 miles back to our car, reaching it by 12 pm. Then we dispersed. So, this was our entire trip. So, quick things to know before you decide to head out for your next adventure to Adirondack. The Adirondacks boast over 2000 miles of trail, home to a rugged climb, diverse wildlife, including black bears. So plan ahead, pace yourself, and don't forget to bring a beer canister. And by the way, which you can also rent in Adirondack Lodge and Heart Lake Center, which we did that time. The idea of backpacking in the Adirondack first came up during a trip to Morgan Hill State Park, New York, with my undergrad friend Vives Karki. He told me, if you really want to experience the wild, Adirondack is the place to be. For the 4th of July weekend, we decided to take on this adventure. We booked an Airbnb cottage for the night, but with both of us arriving late, we barely got 4 hours of sleep before the real journey began. Since it was the July 4th weekend, we knew the crowd would be insane. If we arrived too late, finding a parking spot will be a nightmare. So we hit the road at 5 am. By 8 am, we reached the Adirondack Lodge and Heart Lake Center. After finally securing a parking spot, we prepped our backpack, making some tough decisions on what to bring and what to leave behind. This was our first multi-day backpacking trip, so we had packed way too much gear and food. After some quick calculations and reality check, we trimmed it down to just what we needed to sustain our 3 days trek. One thing we regretted was not having a proper water filtration system. We relied on a gravity filter, which took forever to get a drinking water. If you are planning this trip, bring a fast, reliable filtration system. Trust me, you will thank yourself later. After a quick breakfast, We started our hike around 9 am. The first stretch was relatively easy, no major elevation gain, just a beautiful trail winding through the forest. Our river ran alongside us, its constant flow creating the perfect soundtrack for our journey. We stopped multiple times, catching our breath, soaking in the scenery, and of course, taking plenty of pictures. About 2 hours of hiking, we reached a dam. The place was stunning, calm water surrounded by a dense forest with an old broken bridge standing as a reminder of time passing. We paused for a moment, took in a view, and looked ahead at the long journey still awaiting us. And then we reached Avalanche Lake, and wow! Tucked between two towering mountains, the lake felt like something straight out of a dream. The water was so pristine, so still, and it felt like time had stopped. We could not bring ourselves to leave. The trail ran across the lake edges, weaving through wooden bridges and rock scrambles, making the experience even more magical. After finally pulling ourselves away from Avalanche Lake, we made our way to Golden Lake.
So this may be our campsite for today. We are in Lake Golden right now. We walked almost like 6.5 miles.
The original plan was to push through another 3 miles before setting up camp, but exhaustion had another plan. The lack of sleep from the night before caught up with us, and we decided to camp right there by the lake. So this is our lunch for today. We are trying to make. Setting up camp near the water turned out to be a perfect decision. With the gentle sound of the river and a crisp mountain air, the night felt surreal. I had brought my ukulele, so I played by the water.
And sweet. I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. So we were the ski when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I wanna give you this time, darling, just kiss me slow.
Later that night, as the sky darkened, the true magic of Adirondack revealed itself. With almost no light pollution, the sky exploded with stars. If you ever camp here, don't forget to look up. You will see the night sky like never before. And of course, we have to capture this moment.
This marks our second day of backpacking and walking. Okay. 360 Anna. So we're still playing Truth and Truth.